What's up, everybody? Andrew Cooper here with Fantasy Alarm. And it is that time of the week, baby. It is Friday. On Monday, I do a boring solo show. On Tuesday, waivers. Wednesday, we answer whatever questions. Thursday starts its Friday. On Friday, what we do is I just have my friends on and we put
Mm.
together an FFPC lineup and we have a good time. So today, I got my boy Jagger May here from the Football Guys. Jag, what's up, dude?
Oh, you know how it is, man. We were just talking about we're in that season where we try to enjoy the bye weeks when we can, and then
Hey,
the real stuff happens.
exactly. Yeah. It's funny that, with a little inside baseball, when you're writing about football, it's nice to have a lot of teams on bye week. When you're
Yeah.
playing fantasy football, it's a nightmare. So I welcome the next week with 6 bye weeks. Thanksgiving, when I'm supposed to be celebrating with my family and there are no bye weeks, that's always a tough one.
Yeah.
So,
Because you got like weird, like normally Thursday, you're like, all right, I just need to worry about two teams and stuff like that. And then then it's a nightmare because you even have the Black Friday game after that. It's just,
right.
um,
Exactly. Yeah. It's just crazy slates. And then the following week, we get six bye weeks again. So
yeah.
not so bad. So, folks, if you've never joined us for a Friday show, thanks for popping in. I see a lot of regulars hanging out. Jerry, Angie, Brad, Mile High Luke. What's going on here? Thanks everybody for coming in. What we do on Friday is we go through and we're going to pull all the top matchups from all the games, and then we're going to put together an FFPC lineup. Okay, so for those that don't know how that works, there's no salary, there's no uh, there's no salary. There's no draft. The only rule is you can't pick two players from the same team. So we're gonna hit on every top matchup. If you guys have questions, get them in the chat, and we'll try our best to hit them. But we got a lot of matchups to go through here, man. Before we get into it, Jack, what did you think about the game last night?
It was a Thursday night football game, man. Like,
Right.
I actually watched it this morning because last night, my fiance was like, "Do you want to watch Dune on Sunday, or do you want to watch Thursday night football? It's 7 to 4." And I'm like, "I don't think I might watch Dune."
I think you go Dune there.
Yeah,
Anytime you can get the wife in on Dune. I just rewatched Gladiator because of I want to see the
me
next one.
too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and dude, that movie rocks, man. I gotta say, I forgot how good Gladiator is. That movie's sick.
Yeah.
So all right, let's get into it here. Let me pull it on up. Do we have any questions to hit before we get into it? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. No, we don't got any. We got somebody. The Mile High Luke met you at SFB Live in Denver. That's my
I
pros and
remember
post
I
game.
actually I was waiting on you to point him out. It was just like, "Hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah, he
You
was
got some good regulars and Angie Hatfield. I see her out there."
got the crew. We do have one question before we get going. Half PPR. Do you prefer Pat Fryermuth or Will Disley? And you were telling me you're doing a little bit of tight end whispering over there yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's for like rookie stuff. Like
Okay,
I'm turning into a full draft guy at this point.
nice.
But as
Colston
far as
Loveland,
this,
Wills,
huh?
Colston
I like
Loveland.
I like Colson Loveland. Yeah, like to be honest, dude, this tight end class is ridiculously good. There's so many in there. Like to me, there's like five Sam Laportas,
I
but
love that. Yeah, so on this one, Fryermuth or Will Disley. Muth, I mean, it's a good offense, but Russell Wilson hasn't been targeting him a ton. And then Disley's been getting a ton of targets, but he doesn't really offer much in the yak department. Half PPR makes that tough. What are your thoughts, man?
I think Disley is what could be a ceiling play if that and that's like I mean that's a low ceiling because like you said he's getting the targets, but I think we've seen enough Will Disley that I think our expectations are a little bit too high there. What I do like is that matchup does have a lot of expected points. And the Bengals defense has been up or down. So, like, what Bengals defense am I going to get this week? I'm
Right.
hoping it's the poorest one. And Cameron Taylor Britt said something terrible about Will Disley, and then he'll go off there. So I'd probably lean there.
Yeah, Cam Taylor Britt, man, he cracks me up. Eric, the unfortunately the questions from before are not showing up here. Let me see if I can pull them up. And we can knock those puppies. But I love, honestly, guys like Cam Taylor Britt. I love that type of trash talk. You know what I mean? Where he's just like, he's always hitting them with I don't even know who that guy is. Or with Xavier Worthy, he was like, that dude runs straight and doesn't do much else. Like that's just That is just so rude, dude.
I know.
Yeah, but I love it. I appreciate a good trash talk. So, Eric, let me jump in here and see if I can pull these puppies out of the chat over here. Okay, so he did ask one earlier. Tight end gurus: Will Disley or Tyler Conklin over Knox? So I know Howard likes Conklin, but I'm not a Conklin guy at all. So I'm going Will Disley. Knox has a really good matchup, but I just don't know how much I trust him to just jump into that role and start getting peppered. What are your thoughts on Disley versus Knox?
I would take Disley there, and I agree with what you said about Conklin, uh,
Conklin's what I call
Conklin.
him. Dude.
Yeah, he was cool before Devontae Adams went there. Now I think those targets are pretty funneled to Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Brees Hall. Um, Gone are the days of Alan Lazard being a wide receiver one and Tyler Conklin finishing as a tight end one.
Right. And every last year, I mean, this doesn't happen every year, but last year, every top 12 tight end in PPR either led their team in targets or was second. So for me, I look at a guy like Will Disley or even Zach Ertz, and it's like, you know what? They are kind of the second target on the team. They have been to some degree. Whereas, as you just pointed out, we can't even pencil Conklin in as three. Like he's
Yeah,
clearly four or beyond. So I'm
yeah.
just not interested there. All right, let's pop this up. Again, so someone was asking how did Erickson and I do last week? We actually did well. We came in, I think, ninth, but that's still outside the money. It's the top four that get paid here over on FFPC. We're building towards a lineup. If you want to play with us over there, use the promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. So go get checked out on that. Let's get this up here and let's switch over to this screen. Look at that. Magic. I don't know what incredible program this is, but it sure is beautiful.
It
Uh,
is.
it's got all the matchups. It's got the over unders. It's got the spreads, and then the implied point total there. That's basically taking the over under and the spreads and basically saying Vegas is suggesting that this is how many points each team will score. And I got them color coded there so you can see what's going on. But the Lions are really skewing the data this week. 30 points projected there is the highest I've seen all year, and nobody else is at 25. So it's kind of dulling some of those greens to have such a big one there. Let's talk about this first game. And again, anyone joining us late in this format, you can use anyone you want. No salaries, no draft. The only rule is you can't have two guys from the same team, which I kind of like because there's you can't stack Jag. So it's like you can't get killed by, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah.
Exactly. You can only start one of them. So if we were going to start a Colt, let's start there. Is there anybody that you would even consider for a format like this?
And a Colt? No.
Yeah.
Not even Jonathan Taylor's cute here, and I mean that like he's a good player, but when you don't have an efficient offense where you consistently get the high leverage touches like in the red zone, it's hard to see high upside. But the Jets have been worse since they got rid of Bob Saleh. So like arguably they're getting real run funnelish in a sense. So that's the only one I would even consider. But there's probably other like better running back options.
Yeah, what we've been doing, Rich Rebar was the one that started this, is that we put guys on the sheet out of respect. So it's like even if we're not going to use him in the lineup, like just now, you made an argument for Taylor. We might not use him, but we'll put him in there out of respect.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Just like notable mention, Taylor might be okay if you have to play him in not this format.
Exactly. I like going that way. So on the other side of the ball, the Jets, they're obviously favored to win. 24-point implied point total is actually pretty good, right? You look around here, it's towards the top. So first off, if you had to pick one out of Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams, where would you go?
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
It's like to me, he is. I hate to use the term alpha, whatever stupid thing that you want to say, but I just think he's the best target earner. They move him all over the place, and it's not that Devontae Adams isn't great. I just think that we really, 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 really disrespected Garrett Wilson for a long time.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't feel real when I look at it, but he's leading the league in targets, the
Yeah,
entire league. As I
yeah,
look at it, I'm like, it doesn't feel like it because usually whatever player is leading the league in targets, we're like, oh my god, he's a superstar. He's locked into my lineups. In this case, it doesn't quite feel like that, but yeah, he's got to be the guy. And then Hall, his name's got to be on the sheet, right? Just because he's Brees Hall.
yeah, yeah. And the Colts are just fire at will defense. To be honest, it actually sucks. We can only use two on
Yeah,
this matchup.
exactly. Well, that's kind of the fun part is that you have to make those decisions at the end of the day. And I will say the Colts this week, because there are so many defenses that we usually start guys against that are on bye, that we got to have somebody against the Colts, I think. So, usually we target teams like the Cardinals, the Panthers, right? The Giants, the Buccaneers. I mean, like all four of the teams on bye this week are teams that we usually stack up against. So, not we might run into some matchup problems here. This next one here, let's look at the Vikings and Titans. Also, chat if you have questions, if you can get them in while we're talking about a team that while we're talking about the team, that just helps the flow of the show a little bit just for us. So real quick before we go to that one, we'll hit this question that's in here. Would you start Cedric Tillman or Ramondre Stevenson? Tillman has been good, but Stevenson's playing like 80% of the snaps.
Yeah, it's let me look at the matchups here. I'm probably going to start Ramondre. I'm not going to lie. Just because I feel like I'm going for safety at that point. The Browns are far from safe. As much as we've had a couple of good Cedric Tillman weeks, and I guess Jameis will sling it, it's just hard for me to want to trust that team to go out there and give someone like Cedric Tillman uh, enough quality targets to guarantee that he'll outperform someone like Ramondre, who has a decent matchup against the Rams and is the best weapon on offense right now. If you really think about it, it's like Hunter Henry, Ramondre, and then a couple of angry wide receivers who think they're better than they are.
Right. Yeah.
They've caught like 60 balls between them, and they're like, "I've got the best hands in the league."
Best hands in the league. Yeah, Jalen Polk and Kendrick Bourne getting benched for no reason. They shopped him around to trade him, and then when they didn't, they just zero offensive snaps. I don't know. The wide receivers are best, so
Mhm.
I feel you, man. And Mondre, I mean, like this is a good matchup versus the Rams. He's had some
Yeah,
pretty tough ones. Daz, I like Jacobs the rest of the season. I would have definitely done that trade. So B Rob, he's had some health issues that scare me a little bit. He's been in and out of the lineup, so you never really know with that. Whereas, I mean, Jacobs has just been good. All right, next game here: Vikings Titans. Vikings favored to win by 6 here. Titans, I mean, not projected to do anything. Would we consider anyone from the Titans? Is there even an honorable mention here?
no.
No.
I like Tony Pollard. I respect Ridley, but Will Levis just kills all of that. Especially someone who can't read the field like Will Levis. What do you think that Brian Flores is going to do to him? He's going to be seeing ghosts. It's going to like to him that defense is going to look like a Jackson Pollock, or it's just going to look wild as
Yeah.
hell. He's just going to see the Starry Night because of all that amoeba defense.
Yeah, it is scary. Brian Flores is crushing. I think he deserves another head coaching job, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I feel
time.
bad for the QB if he doesn't bring his game, right?
Just being super mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like if I was a GM, I would hire a good sports therapist along with that.
right. Yeah, and I think do what Mike Tomlin does, and just kind of like be hands off as much as possible. Tomlin basically just lets the coordinator run it, but then every once in a while he like pops in. And he's like, "Let's get one to this guy here." You know what I mean? I think that's the way to do it if you're a defensive minded coach.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean Flores, dude, brutal.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, Toronto Dave with the hill. The hill don't lie in the chat. That is, I can't believe that
Hi,
bit
Dave.
blew up like that, dude. Hey, but we were right, dude. That's it. That's the hard hitting analysis you get around these spots. It's so funny how much work we put in, and then something like that pops off. But hey, we'll
Yeah.
take it. We'll take it. On the Vikings side, um, you know, Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson. This is tight end premium. What do you think, man?
Hawkinson's the one that I like. I know this is crazy, but obviously Jefferson gets a mention, but Hawkinson's the matchup that I like the most. The Titans have been a interesting defense because they've been good bad. Like they pulled Legarius Sneed away from the Chiefs, but he hasn't been particularly good. But it seems like the Titans, ironically, after getting an offensive head coach, their defense has been one of their best parts of this team. So I would just be apprehensive to pencil in Justin Jefferson as like the chalky wide receiver that you're going to play because there's probably some better matchups with some other alpha tier wide receivers.
Yeah, that's what I don't think people realize that the Titans defense has actually been pretty good. The
Yeah.
offense has been the problem, obviously, but if you look at like DVOA, they're top 10 against
Mm-hmm.
the pass and the run, and they stack the box pretty hard, which is surprising that they're still so good on the outsides. But yeah, I'm with you on that. The thing with Hawk is that Hawk has played 45% and 46% of the snaps. Last week he played 46%, got 9 targets. If they do ramp him up here, then he could catch everybody by surprise and have a monster.
That's what yeah. And the Vikings blitz a lot. So a lot of times that's great for tight ends and slots because they get open in the middle of the field when there's no one there. It's just if Sam Darnold, the boy who coined seeing ghosts,
Right, right.
yeah, can get around the Titans defense because the Titans as well, like you said, they stack the box, but they do send them
They
sometimes.
send them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing is you can have big plays if you get to the next level. Same with the
yeah.
run game. It's like they got to break off the big one.
Mhm.
Next game here, we're definitely gonna have some players from this one. Ravens Steelers. 48.5 point over under.
Love it.
Ravens favored by 3. Let's start on the Steelers side. Anything you like over there?
I love the passing game. George Pickens, I feel a little better about George Pickens than I do about Justin Jefferson. Would I, as me as a human who would get clowned by like the homies in the sleeper chat, would I sit Jefferson's for Pickens? Probably not. But one, you probably don't have a team where you're allowed to do that. You're going to be able to
Right.
play just Jefferson somewhere. But for this format, I think Pickens might be a lot better than Jefferson.
Right, where it's like what we're trying to do is compile the chalk, all the
Mm.
chalk plays, and then separate the good chalk from the bad chalk. And if that means we think Jefferson's the bad chalk where everyone's going to have him and us having a different wide receiver in there is the differentiator, then that's the move. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what these lineups end up being. They're all loaded with great players, but the team that wins avoids the good player that doesn't hit and he has like a fringe guy that has a monster week. And Pickens against this defense, I'm fully with you. I think we should get him in there, even if we put Jefferson in there. I mean, we could at
Yeah,
the end of the day we might put them both in, but I really like Pickens. On the Ravens side, what are we feeling?
man. Lamar, that's about it. Even Zay Flowers, as Zay Flowers is the low end wide receiver too. The Steelers are a good defense. The
Yeah,
Steelers are a team where if I see them in a matchup, I tend to say I don't want any of these players.
right.
Because the way they
Yeah,
slow the game down and the way that defense has worked.
they're crazy, man. I mean, just TJ Watt, he's so disruptive, dude. He always gets his hands on the football somehow.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Do we put Derrick Henry's name in here out of respect?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think you have to put his
You
name in
have
there.
to. You got to do that. Yeah. And we might pick him. I think I like.
No.
Do you like Henry over Taylor?
I think I do. I mean, so there is the one aspect of Anthony Richardson. Taylor has run a lot better. I think Theo Greminger posted some stats on that from Player Profiler that kind of showed that Taylor has been much better with Richardson with the RPO. But
Mhm.
even then, I mean, Henry's been so good. Henry's been the best
So
running back
good.
in the league. So
Yeah.
you know what? We'll when we get to the end, it really starts to clarify a little bit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because there
Mhm.
might be so many smash spots that we're not even like thinking about yet. So let's work
Because
our
we got
way
a
through
little
that.
bit to scroll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Real quick question we got in the chat: Chase Brown or Devonte Adams half PPR?
Devontae Adams
Yeah,
matchup.
he got 13 targets last week. I mean, you still got to just keep chasing that. Trade Debo, Brian Robinson, and Addison for London and Tracy. Addison's kind of a nothing to me right now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, I don't.
I think I would. I think I would trade for London and Tracy.
Yeah, I was about to say I would take that because my question is why would the other guy do this?
Right.
you know, like is Jordan Addison that big of a mover? Like not really for
Yeah.
me.
Mr. Grapefruit asking a couple Patriots guys who their favorite coach of all time is. And if it's Rex Ryan. I think Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan was my favorite coach to go against.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I
Like,
I I actually think Rex Ryan's pretty funny. What was that Adam Sandler movie he was in?
Oh, that's my
Dude,
boy. I was about to say that as well.
this dude, Tom Brady, just the right amount of scruff, right?
Mhm.
Like that is all time. But no, I think Belichick, he's like with a bullet. I've been a big Mike Tomlin guy. The standard is the standard. I really
Mhm.
like him. But I think my favorite of all time, if I had to pick one to encompass all aspects, including I thinking he's a good coach and the entertainment factor, I would pick Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh. He is so goddamn funny, man. He has so many quotes. Like, dude, I remember they asked him when he was at Michigan, they were like, you're supposed to be the QB guy. How come the QBs haven't been playing well for the first like couple weeks? This is like when he first started there. And
Mhm.
he goes, fellas, you can't plant potatoes today and expect to eat potato salad tomorrow.
That's true,
It's like, dude,
yeah.
why does he have this just like floating around in
Yeah.
his head? What
I
about
love
you,
his
though? What are some
I
coaches you like?
I was gonna say Jim Harbaugh's up there because like my quote that he's just like he's like I'm a football guy, it's like I like to talk to other guys about football. If they don't like football, they tend to not like me because that's how I feel
Yeah,
sometimes.
I do feel that way, dude.
Yeah, because like when you do this all the time, someone's like, "Well, what have you done?" I'm like, "Well, I watched cornerbacks from small schools the entire day." It's like, do you want?
Yes, dude. Dude, if I'm like in an elevator and somebody's like, dude, if I'm wearing like a Patriots hat and they like, oh, go Pats, I'm like, dude, this is my best friend. I'm like, we're gonna,
Yeah.
like, like
Here's my number. Let's golf. Like, let's
I love,
game.
dude. So when I was in the last time I was in Europe, I was going around, and anytime I saw any football hat or whatever, I was like, yes. I was like, you and me are best friends. And then when I got home, I walked into like a Dunkin' Donuts, and there's somebody wearing a Red Sox hat, and I forgot that I like, everybody here is like that. So I did the same thing. I was like, "What's up, dude? Go Sox!" And this guy was like, What are you talking about?" Because I was just
Yes.
so used to I was so used to just going up to everybody if I saw it, dude. He was like, "What the hell's the matter with this
Like a guy in New England has a
guy?"
Sox hat on.
I was like, you and me, bro. We're like the same. And he was like, dude. Yeah. I remember that I was back in the States in that moment.
Mm,
All right, let's hit the next one here. Let's hit the Browns and the Saints. 44 and a half point over under. Uh, Close game. Saints favored by one. Let's talk Browns side. And you made a good point that, like, even though if we like Cedric Tillman, you can't necessarily, there's no like pecking order that's been fully determined, right? The last
mm.
three games, the different players led the team in targets each week. It's been Njoku, it's been Tillman, it's been Elijah Moore. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if Jerry Judy led the team in targets this week, I wouldn't be surprised either. So it kind of makes that tough. Is there somebody that we for something like this we would pull from that matchup?
Marshawn Lattimore's gone now, so that kind of now
Right.
that I'm now that I'm talking through scheme because with tight ends for me, I'm like, who's their safety and linebackers,
Of course. Yeah.
and then that's how it goes. Like if I see Fred Warner, I'm like the Terminator's out there. No,
Yeah.
like I just don't. Unless it's George Kittle or something. Well, you can't, or
Can't. You
unless
can't
it,
have it.
yeah,
Well, dude,
yeah,
Kelsey only had 17 yards against them. And
yeah.
they got Devondre Campbell too. Like they got two of those guys,
Yeah,
man. So
just Terminators. They will
I hate them.
eliminate. You can't put running backs or tight ends against Terminators. That's why I call them Terminator linebackers. But they also have in that secondary they have Tyron Matthew, who's still a
Right.
somebody. So with that in mind, I would lean Tillman over Njoku if I'm going with that in mind.
Yeah.
And that is the one Brown that I would probably roll out.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. On the Saints side, this is not a good format for Taysom Hill just because it's tight end premium. But I mean,
Hmm.
like he's obviously on the radar. Uh, Kamara,
Kamara.
yeah, I'll put him in
Hmm.
there. And
Yeah.
then obviously wide receivers, we can't. Are you an MVS guy or no? I know that Kluge's been very outspoken about not going for it.
No, I'm not one of those people. I'm like, oh, you got a basketball team? Cool, man. That's awesome. But I'm not like I'm not putting him in a lineup,
No chance, dude. No
Yeah.
chance. On so yeah, and that's about it for the Saints. So we can move on from that one. Jaguars Lions. This is the biggest spread of the year. It's also the highest individual team point total that I've seen, and I've been doing this every week. So this is the first time a team has been had a implied point total of 30 points. So I'm going to go ahead and say we're probably not going to use any Jaguars unless Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I've never seen higher than a 7.5 to 8 point spread this week. Because I've done this every week too. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jaguars, Evan Ingram, that's it.
Yeah. And
But
the Lions have been a good defense versus the tight end. So
yeah, because they got Terminators. Alex Anzalone is out
right.
there. I don't know if Malcolm Rodriguez is healthy or not, but if you've got good in middle linebackers, tight ends tend to struggle. So arguably, if anything, it'd be Brian Thomas Jr. for the boom bust factor over
Yeah.
Ingram. I think I lean. So let's keep Ingram as like, okay, you play tight end and you can
Right.
catch a ball. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The corners for the Lions have been like they haven't graded out well. They've been put in such a tough situation though. The way that the way that they play so much man to man. Like
Mhm.
the safeties grade out really well and the corners grade out terribly because of how much man to man they play. But the safeties have been really good. I mean, I feel like they're picking a pass off every week. Brian Branch and the other guy escapes me right now, but they've both been really, really good.
Yeah.
On the Lions side, this is the toughest one every week because like
Who's the guy?
yeah,
Mm.
get so
It's
it's so
Gibbs or Montgomery for me. That's
I
only
know
two. It's only
no
two.
no Amon Ra. He's been kind of muted because they've been just a much more well-rounded team.
That's why I think I go to the running backs because I think they're going to get up. And you know what they do? Actually, I would put Monty here because Dan Campbell, they'll get up on him. He's like, all right, we're just going to go Monty left, Monty right
Yeah.
until the clock hits 0. And they will do that 100%. And this is the type of game where if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm like, Monty, can you just save our guys? Do this for us and we'll go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's like when you use the bullpen, it's just like,
Yeah.
let's just, let's get him in there and let's get out of here. So,
Yeah.
and he's closed out games this year already. Even ones that I mean that was that overtime game against the Rams. It was just Monty, just right
Yeah.
down the middle. And the game was over. All right, next one here we got Packers Bears 40.5 point over under 5.5 point spread. So no Bears probably, right?
No.
Yeah. On the Packers side, Packers are another tough one because nobody on the team is even on pace for 90 targets. Jaden Reed gets some carries too. Josh Jacobs. I mean, what are you feeling here?
I mean, the Bears have a good defense. Like
I
this is
know
an
it's
ugly game. This is a game where I think the Packers 23 implied points. I would bet the under of this game, even though it's 40.5. I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at like less than 38 points, probably. Another 17.5 game. On the other side of the ball. So Jaden Reed's the only one I'd even want to play out of this game because I
yeah,
know he can bust one for himself.
right. Yeah, he always gets that's the thing is he's not getting a ton of targets, but he always gets a carry. He always gets a screen. Right. He's got such a good floor,
Hmm.
but the ceiling maybe not incredible. So,
Yeah.
quite a couple questions in the chat here. Uh, who to pick up, Knox or Disley? I've been getting a lot of that question. It's so hard because Knox, like normally I would just be like, if we Kincaid was already hard to trust. Now we're gonna trust Dawson Knox.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
But he has a very good matchup with the Chiefs, who they have allowed the most fantasy points per game to tight ends. There's no doubt about it. Some of those have been a little wonky, you know what I mean? But um
Nick
with
Bolton isn't a very good coverage linebacker. Is
no,
the
it's
thing.
not.
He's a straight up liability, but he's so good against the run that.
Dude, he is vicious, man. Nick Bolton is scary, dude.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Disley, as we know, I mean, like he offers nothing in the yak department. The fact that this guy is even still playing football is a miracle. I mean, his injury history, Jag, Will Disley had a torn patellar tendon, which is usually it. Like that's why Jerome Mayo is coaching right now. Like Victor
Hmm.
Cruz, Cadillac Williams, like usually done. He also tore his Achilles, and then he had a broken leg that Pete Carroll said was one that he had never seen before. So he broke his leg like in a
Pete
way
Carroll's seen some stuff.
he's seen some stuff. He basically said that it like I don't even want to describe it, but like it snapped in like the craziest part. So
Mhm.
like I just the fact that he is getting 6 targets a game or 7 targets a game or whatever is nuts. But I think you still got to go with him just with his usage. Um, what about this one? Downs, Amari Cooper, or Audric Estime? this is full PPR.
Amari Cooper because Kincaid's out. The thing is, we're still kind of wish casting with Cooper. What's his snap share up to since he's been there, and then he got injured afterwards. Like realistically, this is just going to be a what's his name? Help me out, Coop. I'm blanking on it.
Well, Keon Coleman.
Khalil Shakir. I was
Khalil
gonna say
Shakir,
Khalil
yeah.
Shakir and Keon Coleman game.
Well,
Like to me, that's who you want.
they run a ton of too high, the Chiefs do. So it probably will be a Khalil Shakir game.
Khalil
But like,
Shakir game.
Josh Downs has been pretty bad with Anthony Richardson. And by pretty bad, I mean he scored that one broken play touchdown, and besides that, he's been terrible.
Well, let's just hope that Bryce Young magic got sprinkled over to him. So I'd probably go Downs here. I can't get there with Audric Estime, man. I think I'm wrong. Actually, go Estime, Luke. I'm sorry. Go with your heart.
No. Go if you want to start Estimate, go with your heart. That's super high risk, high reward though, because it's like the hot hand. I think you're right. Downs is a safe play. Estimate is the high risk, high reward play. And Amari Cooper, again, we don't know how much he's going to play. So
yeah.
All right, let's jump back in. Raiders Dolphins here, 44-point over under. Raiders. I'll just go ahead and put this name in here, and then we won't talk about them again, unless you're a Jacoby Myers guy.
I am a Jacoby Myers guy, actually. I am one, but in this format, I'm probably not going to play Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. The first 2 weeks, he only got like 2 and 3 targets, but that was with Devontae Adams there. Since then, he's been getting kind of peppered,
Yeah, I have him on a contending team, and he's just been sitting in my flex, and I felt pretty good about it,
Yeah, I think people don't, it's like go and look at the game logs and just remember that the first 2 games Devontae Adams is there. If you just consider the last 5 games, it's all 6, 7, 8 target games. So yeah. So he's fine for regular leagues. For this, we need a little more upside though.
Juice. Yeah.
On the Dolphin side, a lot of juice on that side, man. What do you think? We got to have something.
I think it's a lot of juice, but really it's Achane. Like that's, and then there's everybody else. If you really think about it, like to me, out of the running backs, this is the guy I'm putting in out of anyone probably.
Yeah.
So
because this is the format for him. Like you need ultimate upside, and he's just so good. He's playing slot at times too. He's getting a ton of first read targets according to the fantasy data guys. The fantasy points data suite basically says that they're just drawing up plays for him to catch passes, which is that's the best. That's how we get Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara still has never and probably will never have a 1,000-yard rushing season, and I do not care. All I care about is
passing the ball. Yeah, catching the ball. Because I'd normally be worried because like Robert Spillane and Diablo are decent running backs, especially against the run, but I don't care because Mike McDaniel's going to be cooking up some crazy screen or something.
Dude. Every week I look at it, I'm like, what the hell? It's so funny too because they use some plays that are like plays that like only like Navy still runs. Like they come out, you know what I mean? Because they're all like freaks. It doesn't look like it is, but if you really sit back, you're like, wait a second, they're running wing T, like they're running like the triple I sometimes, but it's like Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane back there, so it doesn't look like, you know what I mean? So it doesn't register with you. But like they run that orbit motion, they run the cheat motion. It's just I love what they're doing over there. It's very confusing, and it really makes it so hard on defenses when you put Achane in the slot because do you send out your nickel corner? And when you do send out your nickel corner, they
hang.
Right. Yeah. Like when you do send the nickel out there, then they hand it. They motion everybody around, and now all of a sudden they're running, power I. It's like it really is a great way to do things, man. Mike McDaniel rocks. Next game here: Rams Patriots. Patriots, obviously the hottest team in football, coming off their victory over the Bears. But the Rams are favored to win somehow. Somehow favored to win the Rams. So. Is there any Patriot we'd even think about here?
Ramondre, and that's it. Like I said, like that's about it. Maybe like Hunter Henry's a cute play. Let's put it this way: if this was like real DFS where you're trying to make a unique lineup, I would say Henry is the cute play. But you want the unique lineup here, or you don't want the unique lineup. You want the chalk one. So.
You want the chalk, yeah, exactly. Chalk with a little twist, and that's twisting too far. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I will say Hunter Henry last week, just so people are aware. Like in terms of the usage metrics, he played 89% of the snaps. He ran 87% of the routes. He had a 16% target share. They just didn't throw a ton. So, 4 targets is 16% of 25, and he only caught one of them. So it's like, yes, he had a down week, but I'm not abandoning him completely in redraft or DFS over 1 week because he was out
Yeah.
there. And, it's like guys are going to have down weeks. Travis Kelce had 17 yards against the 49ers. Every other game, he's been an animal. So Hunter Henry's still on the radar for us. On the Rams side, this is another one of those. It's one of them ones. So the first question, of course, is Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp?
I'm going to go with Puka because, again, Sean McVay is one of these coaches where it doesn't matter about he moves everyone around. He's one of these smart guys that think, hey, what if I put my good guys in different spots so the defense can't just line up on him every time? So to me, Nakua has been the guy. Cooper Kupp has been great, but for the upside, Nakua, as long as he doesn't hit anybody, has been great.
Right. Exactly, dude. And it's like they'll it's a great point about moving guys around because with a lot of teams that just use like a typical split end, this would be a bad matchup. Like if it
Yep.
was Mike Evans, they'll throw him out there and they don't, what I mean? They won't like move him into the slot to avoid Christian Gonzalez. Whereas the Rams, it's all fluid. Everybody, Demarcus Robinson's probably going to be out there and just getting, you know what I mean? Like they're going to have everybody
Sacrificial X.
the
Yeah.
sacrificial X, yeah. So I'm hoping the Patriots, and they don't really send Gonzalez in to truly shadow. Like he doesn't like follow guys in the slot, So I think it's just going to be whoever's turn it is to be outside on any given play is going to get vaporized. So,
Yep.
but Nakua should be fine. Kyron Williams, any consideration?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, we should put Williams deserves that. Definitely over Stevenson. If anything, the fact that Kyron Williams is there in H-Chan kind of Stevenson's there out of respect.
Out of respect. That's it.
Yeah.
His 80% snap share is in there.
Yeah.
Next one here, Falcons, Broncos, 2-point spread, 44 point over under, just kind of down the middle here. On the Falcons side, it's not a good matchup for Drake London, right?
No, I was about to say it's Bijan or Pitts day.
Kind of like Pitts, man. Why do I like Pitts?
Because he's a good player. Everyone's still like they're never going to forgive him. He needs another Evan Ingram year. You know how we were with Evan Ingram for a while. They're like, he's terrible. Like, no, he was a giant, dude. Like
Right,
Kyle Pitts isn't terrible. He had Desmond Ritter and Marcus Mariota, and then he had one game where he had less than less than double digit points in the last couple of weeks. Everyone's like, see, I told you he sucked. I'm like, every tight end has had a doo-doo game.
Right. Every single one. Shut up, dude. That's what I'm saying. Right. Pitts, and he's the only tight end with 3 plays of 40 plus yards. If he has one more play of 40 plus yards this year, Jag, he'll be the first tight end to do that since 2018 Kittle. And why? Because they're the 2 most athletic freakazoid tight ends in the league. Like that's what happens. So you get that upside with him. Also, it's like Mooney's banged up. Drake London's going to have.
He's going to be eating, Surtain all game.
And Surtain, like he's even worse for fantasy because like you make a list of like the top corners, you might not put Surtain at the very top. He is very good, but for fantasy, he is at the very top because of how much pass interference he does. Like if you get open, he just grabs you. Like so he's only allowed like a little over 100 yards receiving, but he has almost 100 yards in penalties too, which in fantasy football, that's the worst possible thing.
Because that doesn't count. It doesn't count.
It's a complete black hole for fantasy. So it really is a terrible matchup. And you saw it last week with DeAndre Hopkins. You see it every week. That's where we avoid him. It's not that like he's just like he's not Darrelle Revis. He's like Darrelle Revis if Revis just grabbed you and took you down every time you might have get like any amount of separation.
If Darrelle Revis and what's his name from Goon had a baby. Like that's what you get with Patrick Surtain.
2 questions. Where are my Percocets? Do you have any Percocets?
Percocets, yeah.
That movie's so underrated.
It's
dude.
So good, man.
Don't touch my Percocets. Do you have any Percocets? So good, dude. On the Broncos side, Sutton's been kind of hot, but hot enough is the question.
Yeah.
And the answer is no.
Not for here. Nick, and it's like Nick's
I'm just
Mix
saying.
is something, but like, yeah, let's say I'm not about to go put Sutton in. Now, again, Sutton is my Jacoby Myers. I have him on one squad, and I'm like, he's just chilling in the flex, balling
Yeah,
out. But like, I would never pull him
not
in the
here, man.
lineup.
Yeah, he's been good. We'll circle back the next week when there's 6 bye weeks. Then we'll start. Maybe we'll talk a little sudden. Not here. All right, next game, Seahawks 49ers.
Is
49ers
DK back?
favored big. DK will be back. So I actually just did a write up on this one, so I give you the kind of the the latest. Noah Fant does not look good to play. DK he's already a full participant. He is playing. Unfortunately, Charvarius Ward, for those that are unaware, his 2-year-old daughter passed away a couple weeks ago due to a
Oh
heart
my
condition.
god.
Yeah, and he is still not going to play. They told him take as much time as you need. He says he will be back soon, so it sounds like he's going to play next week maybe, but he will not play this week. So the top corner for the 49ers is out. Everybody else, though, is largely healthy. So Seahawks have everybody back except Fant. 49ers are going to be missing their top corner. So on the Seahawks side, we're obviously not going to start AJ Barner against Fred Warner and Devondre Campbell, but wide receivers or maybe Kenneth Walker. 49ers have been very good against the pass, but they're 20th in DVOA against the run.
Which is crazy because last year was opposite. It's like for
Complete
real.
opposite.
Yeah, it was like last year I was like, all right, you got the 49ers, fire them up, baby. I still like DK here because this is one where DK plays well against the Seahawks. I don't
Yes.
know if it's just the rivalry thing, but they have trouble with him. Walker, I will put him down for respect. He's going against a Terminator, and
Yeah.
but like your DVOA thing, I didn't know that stat. So
I
that's
didn't
something
either.
that's
I
something I'm gonna go look at.
I didn't either until about an hour ago. So,
Mm,
yeah, no, I was surprised by that. But again, sometimes it's what teams. That's the crazy thing about the NFL is that like it boils down to what teams want to let you do. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, so teams like this where they're like, okay, run it against us, but wait till you see our offense, and then we'll see how long running it works for you. And then you have to switch over to passing. They force you to switch over to passing at a certain point, and by that time it's too late. So we'll have to see. This is a very big game implication wise. Both that division is so tight, it's crazy.
Every year, man. Every year.
Yeah, Cardinals leading the division at 6-4 right now. Shout
Yeah.
out Cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's jump over the 49ers side. Again, got Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Debo. Can we just start Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, I was about to say it's CMC and maybe it's CMC and Kittle and then everyone else.
Right.
I'm gonna play. I'm playing Jawan Jennings in a lot of places, but the Seahawks, the one thing they got is corners, baby. They got them falling
Yeah.
out of their pockets. Reek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon. It's
Mhm.
it's pretty good over there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting Juwan Jennings in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, you got to.
I was fired up when I mean, I was fired up when Shanahan was like, "Yep, he's playing the X for the rest of the season." It's like, great. That's
Mhm,
exactly what I needed to hear. Ricky Pearsall, love him in Dynasty. He's gonna have his day will come, but for now, I need Jennings to do something for me.
mhm.
Let's go on the next one here. Chiefs, Bills. Bills are favored at home here against the undefeated Chiefs. You think the Bills win?
I
Loaded,
don't know, man. Can the
loaded
Chiefs
question.
lose? Can the Chiefs lose? I was very anti um, conspiracy theory, but this is how it feels on the other side, not being a Patriots fan, where we would win. It's just like, sometimes you just find a way because we had those years with Tom Brady, where it was just ugly, but we'd still win on something. That's where the Chiefs are
It is,
at. So I,
bro.
I
I'm
just,
telling you, you're right. As a Patriots fan, I was like, no, it's just because Brady's good. But now I look at the Chiefs and I'm like, hmm, I guess
yeah,
it is just
F
because.
these guys, man. That's what
Dude,
it is.
you know who Mahomes is like? He's like Luka Doncic, right? You watch
Mhm.
it and you're like, it's lazy. You know what I mean? He's just kind of dogging around out there, and then he hits a 3-pointer from the logo and they win. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you argue with it? But it's just like but they're not crushing teams. I saw somebody did point out that they have the worst like point differential of any team that's undefeated through this point of which there are very few. So I'm like, whatever. But anyway, for this on the Chiefs side, got to put Kelsey's name in here. Is there anybody else that we would consider?
No.
I'm starting D-Hop everywhere I have him, but I just don't think that this is the correct format for him.
No, the defense is cooking over there on the Bills. It's crazy. They dismantled that defense. So at the beginning of the
Right.
season, I was like, they're going to be terrible. Fire up everyone against the Bills, but just been business as usual. So to be honest, 46 expected points is pretty high. So I don't want anybody out of this matchup besides Josh Allen for the simple fact that he has that rushing floor.
Dude, starting Josh Allen at quarterback would solve a lot of our problems.
It would.
Because I don't think we put another quarterback in the sheet.
Besides Lamar, man. Besides Lamar.
Yeah. And dude, I saw Matt Milano was at practice the other day. How is that possible?
I don't know, man. The more I think I understand about injuries, the less I get it. Because I hang out with Adam Hutchinson every Sunday. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And then I was like, there's no way Nick Chubb's coming back. Everyone draft Jonathan Brooks, and now look where we're at.
It's right. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just the dude tore his bicep like a month ago, 2 months ago. It's like, how the hell is he at practice, dude? I don't know. Crazy. But Matt Milano, he's one of those. He's not necessarily a Terminator, but because he's not great in the run game, but he's a real problem for tight ends.
Yeah,
it's noticeably different when he is playing versus when he's not playing. He has been ruled out this week, which is great for Kelsey, but yeah, he is a good tight end cover guy. All right, let's get through these last ones here, and then we'll put this piece together. We had a couple questions. Jason Ortiz wanted to know: would you trade Pittman, Wan'Dale Robinson, who he never uses, and one of Madison or Estime and Ferguson for Rico, K-Dotton, and BTJ? So a bunch of guys.
Honestly, yeah, dude. You're trading a lot of trash for Brian Thomas Jr. and K. Dotton and Rico Dowdle.
Right. And BTJ and Pittman with the quarterbacks for both those guys, that's kind of a wash to me, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's just a lot of trash and
for your
and you're consolidating. Yeah.
Mike McCarthy finally said Rico is actually the starter, even though we've all known that, but he finally actually said it out loud, which is nice, I guess. Would you start the Gus? Yeah, it's something. Full point PPR, Gus Bus or Jerome Ford? So Jerome Ford is, yeah, he's basically, his usage last week was identical to Justice Hill. That's what his role is now. But in full PPR, I think you actually prefer that to a guy that only gets carries on 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, Bengals at Chargers here. This is a good one. We're gonna have to have guys from both sides on this one, I think. Bengals side, T. Higgins running up that hill. He's gonna be active. Jamar Chase. Chase Brown with Khalil Herbert still getting ramped up is an option. We're not gonna start any of the tight ends. So and then Joe Burrow, I guess there was 5 touchdowns every game. So we have to potentially consider him. So what do you think?
Yeah, Joe Burrow is it's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase for me. Chase Brown, I don't think I'm going to be playing him over a lot of these other guys here. But Jamar Chase, he's arguably the best matchup. The best wide receiver that we've talked about so far as comfortability of what he can do once they roll him out. So
it's Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, and it's not Joe Burrow. Let's put it that way. I'm just gonna delete him. I was just thinking about it. I'm like, dude, how are we not gonna have that guy? He's just so good. On the Chargers side, that's a little more scraggly, but they are projected to win and have almost 25 points here. So, I don't know.
It's like, how are you saying that out loud? What do you think about it?
Where are the points coming from? Yeah, 24 points from who?
It's going to be a 6-40 from Lad McConkey, then Quentin Johnston on busted coverage.
Right. Josh Palmer, Stone Smart will score a touchdown.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, maybe.
J.K. Dobbins, you could put him down as
and then we won't use him.
Yeah, I was about to say, just
out of respect. We'll put him there. All right. And then the last team here, we got Texans at Cowboys. Cowboys, can you even ghost? I don't even know.
I don't.
I've been doing this for
I,
10 weeks and I'm like, I'm like, can you even, how does this format work?
Because it's hard for me to say I'm not putting CD over Chase.
No.
I'm thinking about DK over him. Nakua, I'd probably put over CD Lamb. The more I think about it.
There are minimum 5 guys here I rank ahead.
Yeah.
Where are all the good wide receivers, dude?
We kind of didn't put him on there. Amon Ra, I feel like we should put him back on here because I know I want Amon Ra over CD Lamb.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is going on? Who are the
Yeah.
good players? Right.
Good players. I would put Garrett Wilson over CD Lamb for sure.
Yeah, let's not even put him. Let's not start any Cowboys. I mean, 17.7 implied point total is worse than the Bears.
It's
So
pretty
it's
bad.
17.25. Yeah. So on the Texas side, do we go Nico first game back, or is that being? They said that he was close to playing last week, which has me feeling like he could be a full go. But it's in those situations. But at the same time, if you look at points per game, PPR points per game, the only 2 wide receivers over 20 are Jamar Chase and Nico Collins.
Yeah, I was about to say Nico Collins got me feeling nicey.
Got me feeling nicey. Dude, I made that picture of Gruden. That's the picture that I have for Chuck Bass in my phone now.
Oh,
And
really?
dude, whenever he calls, it takes up my whole screen, dude. It's terrifying. But yeah, big Gruden guy. Shout out to Gruden, dude. Landing with Barstool. Regardless of whether you're a fan of Barstool or not, they pay
big deal.
They pay big money. They print money over there. So good for Gruden. Throw Mixon's name in here out of respect.
Mixon's actually not a terrible play, but I don't see
Cowboys run defense has been bad. So maybe
I was about to
Mixon
say,
might be actually the play.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, let's not. I think it's more than respect. Like, I probably might consider him. Like, I don't know what our flex is going to look like. So
yeah. So, well, let's hit a couple questions real quick, and then we'll jump in and we'll make this team. Rory wants to know: have they talked about Henry, Jonnu, Taysom yet? We did talk.
we talked about Henry and Jonnu. I think Jonnu's another cute play. All these guys are cute plays, is what I would say. Like if you need something, I would feel okay putting Henry in. I've got McBride on bye week, and I've popped in Henry.
Yeah, I'm starting Henry. Jonnu is a guy that I really like to have rostered, even if I'm not using him. Because look at Kate Otten. Go back and look at the Saints game for Dallas Goedert when the wide receivers were hurt. If one of these wide receivers goes down, Jonnu now goes from a guy that you're sitting here, you're saying, 4 or 5 targets or whatever. Now he goes into 6, 7 targets, right? The way look at Kate Otten. I mean, like these guys were unstartable. Dallas Goedert is only good when the wide receivers are hurt. That's what I like about Jonnu because that team uses the fullback, and when you use a fullback that much, there's no wide receiver 3. So it's like you get that boost. But with Waddle and Hill, it's been tough. The Twitch gang in the house. Twitch glasses for the Twitch gang. Love when people watch over on Twitch. I need to have need a tight end. Mark Andrews or Dawson Knox. I can't rightfully start Dawson Knox over Mark Andrews. I just can't do it. I can't click that button.
This is when I would on the Dynasty show. Me and Joey are good cop, bad cop. Joey's just like really nice. Then someone will come in with a question. I'm like, come on, guys, what are we doing? And that's where I'm at here.
The thing is, it's not even a crazy question, search and kill. It's not crazy at all because Knox has a good matchup. Isaiah Likely is supposed to be back. I just can't click that button. So I'm going to start Mark Andrews. He's also been, even with Likely playing, he's been kind of a touchdown machine. They look at him in the red area. He's always been good at that. So Mark Andrews, I bet, could score a touchdown this week. Last question here before we finish up this lineup. Brian Thomas Jr. or Lad McConkey?
Probably Lad.
I'm going Lad too. I like the matchup for him. All right, folks, here's what we're doing. We just pulled every top matchup out there. We got them all in this spreadsheet. Look at that. Wow. Now we're going to make a lineup at FFPC. If you want to play at FFPC, use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more, and you can make one of these lineups. The way it works, there's no salary, there's no draft. You can start anybody you want. You just can't start two players from the same team. And you're about to see how crazy of a lineup you can make here. It really is satisfying to look at. So right from the rip, I do want to say there were a couple names that I noted that you were excited about that I think we're definitely going to put in here. The first one is when we were talking about Devon Achan, you were fired up,
Yeah,
right?
like yeah.
So we're going to put him in there.
Achan's definitely probably my top running back, and to be honest, probably CMC. So I'd put him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you being honest with me? See, Christian McCaffrey, dude, he got 7 targets his first game back,
Yeah.
and Jordan Mason played 3 snaps. Isaac Grendo played 3 snaps. This guy is so back. He's never been more back. So RB1 in my rankings for stapled for the rest of the year.
That's what me and Jeff were talking about on the Dynasty show. Everyone's like, "Should I accept a first for Jordan Mason?" Yes. They're like, "But CMC," I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah,
Like CMC did get hurt, but you don't think that they're going to give their star running back carries anymore?
right. Yeah, like he's obviously going to be the guy. Don't worry
Mhm.
about it. Mason dust. And I feel bad because like there were certain points in the season where we were like, maybe hold on to Mason, maybe see how things go. But the trade window for Mason got slammed shut and smashed. Like
Mhm.
it's over. All right, we got up to 2 wide receivers. The rest can be all flexes and 1 tight end. At wide receiver, we liked who
Jamar Chase.
we like Chase for sure.
Mhm.
And then we didn't really have another like super lock play. The other guys on
Mm,
the sheet were this. We had Garrett Wilson from the Jets, Justin Jefferson, George Pickens, Cedric Tillman, BTJ, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jaden Reed, Puka Nakua, DK Metcalf, and Nico Collins.
I know. I think I know. I want Garrett Wilson in here somewhere. Whether why? Because I just love the matchup against the Colts.
Yeah, let's get
He
him in
leads
there
in
right now.
targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really safe and has the upside. Then I'm thinking it Nakua versus some of these running backs. Like, where do we like Kamara against like Amon-Ra St. Brown or Nakua or something like that, or like Monty, because we can only use one lion, and I feel like we need one of these lions into this matchup.
I
So,
think I think in my rankings, I have in full PPR. There's not a situation where I would rank Monty ahead of Kamara. So I think we should
mm,
put. I would love to have Kamara in the lineup.
yeah, so let's get Kamara in there because
He
like
was so
that's
close. He dropped that pass last week. He would have had another 50 plus yards and a touchdown.
mhm,
Unbelievable that drop he had, dude. But he still had 100 yards in scrimmage.
mhm.
Yeah. So let's get him in. So okay,
Mm,
why don't we do this? There's a couple teams where we have to have a players from them. Like for instance, the 49ers, we had to get somebody in there because they have 27. We have to get a lion in there. Should it be
that's
Amon
yeah,
Rossy Brown?
yeah. It's got to be Amon-Ra St. Brown at that point over
Because
Monty.
because they have a 30-point implied point total. Like we have to get somebody in there from that team. Other teams we have to have somebody in from is probably the Ravens, to be honest.
I was about to say, so we'd have to have Lamar as a QB. Like I feel like Lamar has to be.
It's either Lamar or Josh Allen.
And who has the easier matchup? Yeah.
Josh Allen. No, they both have bad matchups,
Mm.
but they both have similar implied point totals. If we go with Josh Allen, then we can start Derrick Henry if we want to.
That is. Let's put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in that. Well, let's go back and look at the rest of our running backs and wide receivers,
Okay.
and and then, because like, do you think do we like Derrick Henry over Mixon and or whatnot?
Yeah. I'm gonna delete some names. I'm gonna delete Stevenson. I'm gonna delete Dobbins. Monty's out. We can't start Hall. Jonathan Taylor. I mean, how do you have it ranked this week? Who do you because I know you're super high on CMC. You're high on Kamara. You're high on Achan. Who's like your RB? Who's top 5? Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker. That's kind of how we should be boiling this one down.
Yeah, I would rather have Nakua than Kyron Williams, so take him off.
Okay, we'll put Nakua in right now, and then we just have one player left for the flex. and
Oh, for the flex? Okay,
that makes our
cool.
lives a lot easier.
Yeah. We already took our lot. We already got our line. I'm in on St. Brown.
Yeah.
Pickens
Yes,
against the Ravens.
that's it. Okay, there we go. So it's all chalk, and then there we go. That's perfect. All right. So then unfortunately, that doesn't solve our quarterback problem. So we're still going to have that problem. And
I
I
still
think,
think Lamar. I'd still rather have Lamar.
okay.
Because Lamar breaks big plays. Josh Allen has to get down there and run it in. Like he needs to be in the red zone most of the time,
Yeah.
whereas Lamar Jackson is scoring anywhere on the field.
Yep. And he's been incredible. All right. So at
Mhm.
tight end, we didn't really narrow anything down. We can go
No, we did
Kelsey.
not.
It's Kelsey or Bowers, right? Those are the
Pitts is
top.
out.
Could
Pitts is
well,
out.
we could use Pitts, but I have Kelsey ranked 1. I think I have Kelsey ranked 1 and Bowers 2. I mean,
Just do.
you know what? This is the Pitts week. This is the Pitts week because you got the Drake London narrative. You've
Hmm.
got Mooney's banged up, right?
Yeah.
Kelsey got last week. DeAndre Hopkins got 5 targets because Surtain was on him, and Kelsey got 13 targets.
Yeah.
It's the same team. So there you
Yeah.
go. 13 targets for Pitts. Pencil that in. That's exactly
This
how that works.
this is the what you were saying. Like we're gonna go chalk, and sometimes you do a twist. This is the twist.
Yeah. Luke wanted us to use Pickens last week, and we didn't, and we were wrong. So, Luke, we're in. Okay, let's wrap this up. Kicker and defense. Let's just short rail projection. We can
Show
use
the
Minnesota. We can use
show the
Minnesota.
yeah.
We can use Minnesota against Tennessee or Green Bay against Chicago or Houston against Dallas. Those are the ones.
Green Bay or what's the other one? What was the first one?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Minnesota.
pull up the
Minnesota
screen.
again.
So it's Minnesota. It grays out the teams you can't use, which is nice.
Mm.
So we got Minnesota versus Tennessee, Green Bay against Chicago, Houston against Dallas. I mean, they're all good.
Minnesota. Just
Yeah.
Will Levis. What calendar moment is he gonna give us this week? I just
Yeah.
know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And then if we want, we can use Brandon McManus as our kicker against Chicago.
Yeah.
Or yeah, that's the way. That gives us exposure to Green Bay, which is
Mhm.
nice. All right, perfect. So this is our lineup. Folks at home, if you want to play and make an absolutely bonkers lineup like this, go to ffpc.com, use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more. We've assembled a humble lineup of Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Garrett Wilson, who leads the league in targets, Jamar Chase, Alvin Kamara, Puka Nakua, our ringer, George Pickens, Amon-Ra St. Brown, ringer number 2, Kyle Pitts, Brandon McManus, Minnesota defense. So I will say, I guess maybe the only criticism I have, you know what we're doing here, which is kind of cool, is if that Bills Chiefs game just completely falls flat and sucks, then we win, right?
Yeah, that's true, dude.
You
Like,
know?
because I told you I would bet the under of that
Yes,
game.
you were
So,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. So really, we're betting the under on one game. We could win. So,
Yeah. So we hope it's cold in Buffalo. You know, it gets cold this time of year. I kind of love that strategy. All right.
Mhm.
So that's it, man. Jack, thanks so much for coming on, brother. Why don't you tell everybody what you got popping right now?
Yeah, man, I'm over at footballguys.com. If you want to get ahead on rookie content or in a dynasty, that's what I do. I host a dynasty show with Jeff Bell. I've just released the top 20 wide receivers prospects. The week before, I released top 20 running backs. This week, I'm only doing 15 tight ends, but for you IDP people, I'm going to do 15 edges. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you this 15 tight ends for a class is awesome. You don't need more than that. The best tight end class we've ever had, still only had like 4 fantasy relevant tight ends. I've been kind
yeah,
of doing the math. You either get 2 really good guys in the same class, like we got like Kelsey and Kelsey and Kittle, I believe, but like you're almost never getting 5. So 15 has us covered, brother. We appreciate
yeah.
it, man.
And to be honest, like I'm not making them up, but I'm like 5 of them. I just like round numbers. I'm like, this guy's garbage, but I have tape of him, so I need to talk about
Right. Yeah. Gotta get them in there, you know.
him.
So thank you guys hanging out in the chat. If you can hit the like and subscribe on the way out, that does mean a lot. For me, I've got tonight, I'll be on Sirius XM 6 to 8 p.m. I'll be on again Sunday morning, 10 to 11. And we'll be right back here on the YouTube channel right after the 10 to 11 show in the morning to do 11 to noon answering every single one of your questions. Thank you to Jagger and the football guys. Thank you.